Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 7th episode of Pasture Perspective. My name is Scott. I'll be leading us through a wonderful discussion of My Little Pony, Season 4, Episode 9, Pinkie Apple Pie. I have here with me MetalSonic.
And I don't know a joke anymore. You ruined it. All of you.
NightOfAccordianSax.
Hold on, I have this written down. I am a space cowboy.
Pseudonym.
They had dead to rights.
And Tailspin.
Howdy, everyone.
Tailspin is like me and feels like writing out your intro statement is dumb.
Same here. I came up with that off the top of my head.
All right, let's jump into Pinkie Apple Pie. I think this is. I need to ask you guys your real quick one-shot thoughts. Just real quick, one sentence. What'd you think, Metal?
Well, jumping into Pinkie Apple Pie would be a cool idea, but wait, you're thinking saying something about the episode?
Yeah, what's your quick reaction?
Well, my quick reaction is that duck scene and the jokes were really good.
Okay, Pseudonym, what'd you think?
I really liked the way Pinkie was portrayed in this episode. I like that the moral was that families should be able to, get along together. That you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to admit to your mistakes, and Okay. And I also like the cats.
I like the cats. Night, what'd you think?
Best song.
Best
series.
song.
I honestly believe that. Also, I'm pretty sure Fluttershy is going to have a really stern discussion with that eagle at some point.
Yep, we'll get into that. I'm going to go ahead and react to your statement.
Tailspin.
No, yeah. I didn't. What? I'm going out of order. Don't tell me how to moderate my own podcast, Metal.
But.
No butts around here. Butts are only for the pasture itself. I'm going to react to Knight's statement and say I didn't like the song, but overall I liked the episode. Tailspin, what'd you think?
I thought it was a pretty fun episode. I like the gag with the eagle and the catching stuff. Oh, and the song was kind of okay.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the song a little deeper. Knight, what really did you like about the song? Can you explain what you liked about it?
I thought it played really well with the characters. I think it really fit the Apple family. It had a banjo, which, as someone whose family is from Missouri, means I have to immediately give it at least 10 additional points in its favor. It also had a washboard, which is another additional 10 points. I don't know. I actually like the fact that Granny Smith sung, if not well. I thought that was cute.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought when Pinkie joined in, just the whole group part, it just sounded really well. It had some pretty decent voice work. I mean, just mathematically, clearly it has to be the best song. 20 points in its favor.
20 points, okay. There wasn't any one part of it that, I was like, yeah, I'm not buying into that. It just didn't click with me. I did like that now that Michelle Creeber isn't singing for both Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle, she can really roll back the Apple Bloom accent when she's singing. And so Apple Bloom's part came across a lot more. Clearer and, less, oh, wow, that's a Southern accent if I ever heard one.
Yeah. Howdy, y'all. Like I'm totally singing a song. Yeah.
Did anybody notice it didn't sound like even when Big Mac was, in the ensemble, his voice wasn't actually present there, was it?
I don't think he was actually even singing.
He was mouthing along.
No, I also don't think so, because I'm just listening to it and I don't hear a deep voice in it.
I think that actually fits with Big Mac's personality.
He just mouth along with it.
We could look at it like that.
Is it his personality, or like the family has this vendetta that he can't speak ever?
Well, yeah, let's talk about that. You know,
but the thing is, it is implied that he speaks. And there's one scene with Pinkie where she just says, "Yes, this is really deep."
Well, think about it. I mean, he was hiding behind all the stuff at the back of the boat. None of the rest of the family was there.
So Big Mac doesn't get along with the rest of the family at all.
Unless
that's probably the thing. They probably just have this rule they made out of a joke or out of a habit to not let him speak.
Yeah, I actually don't like that rule at all.
Yeah, I would not like that rule as well, but I think the writers or I don't know if it's the writers or the directors or whoever thought, okay, this is a funny idea to make in our cartoon. And
like, I think the first sentence he said that wasn't yep or nope was, y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves.
Actually, no. He spoke for real in episode 4.
Yep, episode 4.
Yeah.
Then they kind of started with this rather boring running gag that he only says a yup and nope.
It kind of lends credence to when he does actually speak. It carries weight on top of just, you know, the fact that he has a very big voice. It's a literary device.
Basically, I mean, it's just like this one instance where they flip with Applejack and Ponyville Confidential, where they just you know that Apple Bloom did shit when Big Mac told her that what she did in Ponyville Confidential. If you actually want to know what she did, just watch the episode. The episode great. Basically,
it's economics
to the entire theme. That Big Mac
economics.
Talked.
It's the economic principle of scarcity in literary form. You know, the less you have of it, the more valuable it can be. Assuming it has any base value.
That's why people are looking forward to Shaq Fu 2.
Assuming it has any base value.
Well, Shaq Fu has the value of, you know, kindling.
Could we please get wrong and not talk about this at all?
Okay. Well,
I played the game. It is horrible.
You played Shaq Fu 2?
Let's stay on topic here, guys. Come on.
Right.
Okay. Let's talk about, you know, the idea. How was Pinkie characterized? How did we feel about that? Pinkie's character in this. Do we think she was done pretty well, or?
Well, I'd say she was mostly done pretty well. I think there were some moments I'd say she was kind of annoying, like constantly yelling "best X ever." But other than that, I think it was all right for this episode.
Yeah. I mean, she wasn't especially painful like in other episodes. Think of
Wonderbolt Academy.
Yeah. Or we have Wonderbolt Academy, or where she was just annoying. Also was in what's the first Babs Seed episode?
One bad apple.
Seed.
One bad seed.
Okay.
Yeah, one bad apple.
Yes. Well, yes, one bad apple. Thank you. That one also, but this one, she was tolerable. It wasn't one of her best moments, because I still think the best Pinkie episode is actually episode 3, season 3.
Too many Pinkie Pies.
Too many Pinkie Pies. Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
and
the thing to keep. Go ahead, finish.
But for the reason that this was called Pinkie Apple Pie, she wasn't that prominent actually in the episode itself.
Well, yeah.
I think.
Let me. I'm going to sneak in here, and then we're going to move on to that topic here in just a second. The thing that I hear you guys talk about is, you know, is Pinkie annoying or not in an episode? And while I think that's, you know, a valuable question, is she in character when she's being annoying? Because she has been, you know, out of character and annoying, and she's also been in character and annoying.
Like I said, I liked her characterization in this episode. She got kind of annoying at times, but at those points it felt like she was, actually supposed to be, like it wasn't the writers messing up. It was more, it was more them actually doing it well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. All right, well, let's talk about, the idea that who did anyone here expect this to be a Pinkie episode? 'Cause I sure did.
I was expecting it to focus on the Apple family.
Honestly. I didn't expect anything because I walked into this episode not knowing anything, not even the title, when I was here at looking at it at the first time. So
yeah. All right. Well, I was expecting it to be, more of a Pinkie episode, Pinkie figuring out her place in the world kind of episode. And I was surprised that it's not. And it's not an Applejack episode either.
It's an Apple Family episode.
It's an Apple Family episode.
Well, I guess for me it's either Apple Family or Applejack, Pinkie Pie, kind of. They kind of went with the Apple Family.
It's more an Apple Family, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what do we think of the idea that this has been a topic that's come up outside of Perspectives on a non-zero number of occasions, where the show seems to be more interested in building the Apple family than Applejack herself. Has anybody got something to say on that?
I'm not actually sure, because the thing is with Applejack is that one of her most characteristics is that she is really attached to her family. But in this episode in particular, it's not like she is one representative, not only one representative of the Apple family, but due to her interactions with the Apple family, I thought she was pretty characterized pretty well, because she was there organizing the Apple family. She was there trying to get everything in shape. Basically, she was the twilight of the Apple family. Which is kind of in character for her, because she just tries to basically everything has to be running, and I mean it's actually reasonable, because if nothing is running, then she would basically have no thing. Well, her work is actually one of the things she lives for. So if she can do the work, she is also, well, how do I say it? She's also happy in this kind of way, so she's managing, so to say, the outer. How can I put this? Into
would
text?
Would you say that Applejack as a character is defined primarily by her family?
No, not primarily, but it is also a big factor. Like there are multiple factors, but I mean work. As I stated, her work relations, the way she goes around work, her family as being like one of the reasons she works for, and aside from her obviously being kind of a workaholic, at least in my opinion.
All right, Tailspin, you got anything to throw in on this?
I would say that in previous seasons they kind of focused more on her family, and I think even the writers outright keep saying that it's an important part, and she just cares about her family and stuff like that. But it was more like this in Super Squeezy 6000. It's always her family there. In what's the name of that episode? Last Roundup, her family is there. That's kind of how I would see that it would constantly bring up her family, even in cases where they really don't have to be there. I can understand Super Squeezy that episode. In Last Roundup, they kind of didn't have to. And I don't really think they focus that much on it, but they seem to be in this season kind of moving away from it. And even if they now focus on the family, they kind of focus it on a more realistic way a family interacts. As Metal mentioned, her being a workaholic and doing all this both because she likes doing work and both to support her family and all that. So I would say that they've kind of achieved a balance, for both aspects of the character.
See, I feel like, and this is, the backside of the issue of writing for Applejack, is they designed Applejack as pretty much the epitome of the straight character. And they wrote that and they went, shit, how do we make her interesting now? And and in this episode, they really built on that by showing us some great family dynamics. Let's talk about family dynamics.
Family dynamics were really realistic.
Yes, they were.
Yes. They were portrayed really very realistic for a family, but especially, I mean, Big Mac just being stubborn as hell, and Apple Bloom basically Apple Bloom being a kid, because
like Big Mac being a bit of a show off as well.
Yes, and I think not the show off, and I think that he's also stubborn, but then again, Applejack is also stubborn. So, and I think it's one of the family traits is that they are all stubborn a bit, or quite a bit.
I want to say this, but Granny Smith was also portrayed as being a bit too sure of herself, even when she's wrong, so she just ignores everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what you would expect for someone who's old, I guess.
Right.
Yes.
At least from my personal experience.
Yeah. It was, I liked how they portrayed it, and how they resolved it. They resolved it in a very positive way. I'm going to, on the topic of, Big Mac wanting to show off, I'm going to poke a little thing and then tell you guys not to pick at it because it's a can of worms. But we haven't seen Big Mac, really want to show off until Pinkie showed up.
Oh,
what if there's something there?
You're not.
You're going there, aren't you?
No, we're moving on. Moving on from that.
Not canon.
Night of Accordions. Night.
Seriously.
Night. What do you want to talk about next? Other than that,
you know what? Let's shift gears completely and talk about probably one of the better jokes of this episode. The whole hawk.
The circle of life.
Yeah, nature is fascinating in action.
Yes, nature is very fascinating.
And then they did.
Yes, it's always the duck. The duck fetches something, and then the hawk comes and fetches the duck.
Well, it was a fish once.
Oh yes, it was a fish once. Yes,
yeah,
and then
the fish caught the map, and then the hawk caught the fish, and then the duck caught the wheel, and the hawk caught the duck.
Hey, you forgot the first time Pinkie caught the eagle on camera.
Oh.
So many layers.
I noticed that one of us said hawk and one of us said eagle. So if any of you are listening to this and go, it's a hawk or it's an eagle, I will reply to you, I don't care.
It looks like an American bald-headed eagle to me.
Yeah, it looks like a
eagle
bird.
As far as I'm concerned.
It's a wingy bird.
Yeah, it looks like it had wings. So we
was a bird that's
insert
not a
everything
duck.
that has wings, and maybe we will end up digging up a dinosaur.
Predatorial bird.
All I'm going to say is I look forward to that one guy who's going to go frame by frame and then cross-reference it with like an encyclopedia to prove what bird it was. So,
No, they're going to cross-reference it frame by frame to figure out if it was from or for Moondancer.
A can of worms.
Basically, yeah, it wouldn't be so funny if it hadn't happened on our forums. Wait.
So, well, and as far as that particular joke, taking it back to the joke that actually happened, not our stupid little banter, they did a very good job of not running it into the ground. They did it 2 times.
3 times.
It was a well done running gag. You should do a running
gag.
gag.
It's kind of 3 times because when Pinkie and the Apple family gone down the waterfall, you see the ducks with the wheel flying over.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's never actually called to attention. You know, that's like this little detail you might miss.
Yeah, of course, but still.
I think that's more like I don't know how many of us here have actually watched an A-Team episode, but like an A-Team, they shoot at the bad guys and, or they shoot at the bad guy's car and it flips over, bursts into flames, and then you see the bad guys crawl out. So you're like, okay, no death on TV. I think that's pretty much what they were doing right there with the duck flying past in the background,
Yeah.
But
the bad
Of
guys
course,
getting
no one
away.
cares about the fish.
Yeah, the fish can die. That's been
Yeah,
proven
Yeah.
in,
even
And
Fluttershy
also the
approves of
squirrel.
fish being killed in order to feed animals.
And also the squirrel can die. You know the one which was basically glued to the tree and could eat every.
Squirrel.
Oh, I think what I liked about the joke, if I may say something real quick.
No.
Okay. I like the fact that the joke, it's the same kind of idea. The hawk flies off with it, with, X thing. But I like the fact that the first time, it makes sense. Oh yeah, a hawk would get the fish.
Who catch fish?
Yeah, you're not expecting it, but you say, oh, that makes sense. The second time makes absolutely no sense. Like,
But that's what it's funny about.
and yeah, I think that's why it works so well. It's the same joke per se, but it's not. They're using it in different ways. It's funny in different ways. I think that makes it not stale. Because if it was just a fish comes out and the hawk gets it like 2 or 3 times, you'd be like, that may be a bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
All right, Tailspin. I'm cutting it off. Tailspin, pick a topic. What do you want to talk about next?
Cop out about Pinkie's family relations.
All right. I don't really know that it did cop out. What do you think, Tailspin?
Well, it kind of falls into the typical cartoon cliche where they just bring something up and spend the whole episode talking about it, then in the end they just remove it, saying it was never real or something. On the other hand, some people have mentioned that the gingerbread house and the way she pulls out, was it the book or something? I can't remember at the moment.
Something like
kind
that.
of resembles the same way Pinkie does, so it could kind of imply they're related.
Yeah.
So I'm not actually sure if it is a cop-out or not. If you just look at it like this, it is, because it's your typical, oh, no answer here, back to typical status quo. On the other hand, there's that.
It was a cop-out. If it was a cop-out, it was a cop-out designed to serve the message. And the message was that a family isn't necessarily made up of blood. Blood. Which is an interesting message to come from an Apple Family episode, because the Apple Family has always been really big on direct, lineage relationships. It does lend credence to the idea of pony surnames, though, because up until now, the idea has been, surnames, last names have kind of been a soft concept. If present at all. But they referenced, the Pie surname directly. And I think that, what do you guys think?
About the names.
Yeah, about the names.
I always kind of have a feeling like it basically depends on the plot. Like, if it's the apples or the pies, I guess they kind of reference it. Maybe if it's Twilight Sparkle's family, but I don't know. I think depends on the episode, how they're going to do it.
Yeah, it's soft canon.
Yeah,
it's not even soft canon. It's soft whatever it needs to be.
Yeah,
I feel like it's going to be like the dam from Mysterious Murderwell, where it's only there if it needs to be, otherwise it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
The same could be said about the whole world, basically.
Metal.
Well, I mean...
Knight, you're up next. Metal, what was that?
What? Noel, I just wanted to say on the whole topics of the name, it's I feel like it's not even that interesting to talk about that, because we can't. The thing is,
your topic's dumb and you should feel dumb.
We
Get out, you failure.
We can't get much interest out of that, or much storytelling, much character development.
We already wrung out all the character development and plots that we could out of that concept in this one episode.
Basically.
Yeah,
unless we decide that Shining Armor is related to Vienna sausages or Spam or whatever it is.
I don't expect that, surnames is going to be, a topic coming forward. Knight, was there something you wanted to say?
I was just going to say, I mean, the show, was it Foster Self back in like season 1 who openly admitted that the way the Bible was written said, if it serves the story, do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, the Bible is incredibly loose.
So, I mean, I could see like this never coming back up, or they might even contradict it at some point.
Yeah.
But I think it's, I don't know, it's one of those things that's hard, I think, especially for them to kind of do anything with, because arguably these names are also, the toy names. And if, Hasbro kind of gets to decide what exactly everybody gets named, if that makes any sense.
I just thought of something. This is gonna be a pain in the butt to translate in certain places where names work differently, and like none of the names make any sense.
Oh.
Yeah, they could just make up stuff.
Yeah, they're pretty much going to have to
all the time. But
all right.
To move to a slightly different, who has got the internet reference? Who got the internet reference?
Internet reference? Explain.
What the thing Apple Bloom was singing?
Yes.
Oh.
What was it?
Oh.
It's a spoof on the Twilight Licious and Licious thingy.
I didn't catch that.
No.
Yeah.
Basically, she was singing the song that all Twilight Licious was singing. I can't remember it by mind.
To the WILIGHT.
Yes. Kind of.
Ain't no other pony troll like
I
me.
I think it was even the same melody, was it?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes, it was the same melody, and
that turns up.
It was a direct reference.
You see, and this is where, we can respectfully disagree, Tailspin. I don't feel like it changed the flavor of the show, so it doesn't bother me.
I just don't like it when fandom stuff appears in the show. It's a personal feeling, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When they do it to change and it changes the flavor, yeah, I'm right there with you, The fandom shouldn't change the flavor of the show. But, we've been over this before, It's
a minor thing compared to Derpy appearing in whatever the episode was, so I'll let it slide.
I enjoyed the Derpy thing, but that's my personal, take. I completely understand where, people who didn't care for it were coming from. Let's not get into Derpy Gate right now.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Let's keep away from that. Pseudonym.
I wasn't going to get into it.
Pseudo, you want to pick a topic?
Example.
What do you want to talk about, Pseudo?
So many things you could talk about.
If you hadn't started singing, I could have edited out the silence.
Well, you can edit out the silence besides the song.
We've talked about me editing out sections of discussion before, and I've never done it.
Edit out the song, replace the silence, and edit out the silence.
You would think about Scott and work. I mean, that's an oxymoron.
Enough talking about how the show works, or how the perspective works, and Pseudo pick a
Pirate
topic.
Jack, yar.
Yar, Pirate Jack.
Yar.
I didn't notice that. When was that going on?
The song.
Oh, during the song? Totally didn't catch that.
Even takes a picture of it.
Yes, it's in the song, and Pinkie takes a picture, and it's in the family or whatever book Pinkie was making during the trip. It's the road trip book, picture book.
Yeah.
Basically, the plot device for the end to give us the moral. To visualize us the moral of the episode.
Wait. I wonder if that scrapbook is the same thing they write their lessons into.
Nah, they showed the cover of both, and they're different. But that would have been cute if it was. It would have actually been funny at the end of Twilight. It's like, where did the book go? Pinkie's just like, here it is.
All right. Well, I think there's one more thing I really want to talk about before we start wrapping this up. I did not notice every episode previous has always ended with the camera giving us a little, hey, look at this. kind of thing. Is this important? What's going on here? I didn't see one at the end of this episode.
I don't think the last one had. Oh yeah, the last one had.
It had the it had the thread.
Yeah.
I didn't see one of those in this one.
I don't think there was any of that sort of thing.
Well, there was also no reason to put that in. I mean...
Well, yeah, there was no adventure aspect to this one. Every other one so far had some degree of adventure.
I mean, arguably, this was an adventure. I mean, they did go rafting and other stuff.
They played Oregon Trail.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
You could say, basically, that the whole, is Pinkie now an Apple family member or not, could be the... Or is it element?
Or is it?
That is just the but it's over the entire episode and not only at the end. So,
it's something that I've been keeping an eye on because I'm curious whether those little things have been meaning something or not.
Can I give an example?
Go ahead.
Babylon 5 does its... the first season is kind of boring to watch, but the first season features stuff that happens and characters that appear that at first seem like generic, and then they end up being important. I'm using that in an example, and Babylon 5, for instance, never pulled an or is it ending, or made something and said this is foreshadowing. So going by that, I don't think any of that really plays any role outside of the episodes.
And then we also have to see that basically My Little Pony is not really that type of series.
I'm using an example as a show that does foreshadowing.
Yeah. Well, but on the flip side, Gravity Falls does that exact thing.
Yeah, but Gravity Falls is written by a writer. It has a different show Bible, probably. It has mostly loosely connected episodes. Gravity Falls is kind of like Avatar, written to an end to reach a certain conclusion. My Little Pony, on the other hand, is not.
Here's the thing about that. And season 1 through 3, you are absolutely correct on that. Season 4, they've cleared their syndication. And this is something that has actually come up with, I believe, show writers. This has been discussed with people who actually know what they're talking about and can, speak to the topic. Season 1 through 3 had to be kept, relatively out of orderable. You didn't, they couldn't have any hard continuity going on in it. Season 4, that restriction got lessened a little bit. They have more freedom to build
but in literally every
arcs.
second episode, that's too much stuff.
I'm not saying necessarily that it is something, but I'm keeping the intrigue open.
Personally, I think they're just jokes.
And they might just be.
They're just typical jokes you see in cartoons.
I think it's that some of them might be important, but some of them are just jokes. Did someone say that the ribbon being important was confirmed?
The rainbow spool is probably important because it isn't a joke. If it was a joke, or is a joke, then it's a joke. But it just focuses on it, it shines, and we're not laughing at it, or it isn't like, or is it? It just focuses on it and says, here's something. So that might actually be foreshadowing.
Well, but, what about the Shadow Pony? Was that something? Who knows?
That's hard to guess, actually.
That's hard to guess.
I've read somewhere that Haber said it was a joke, but I never found the quote of that, so take that as you will.
The thing is, basically, even if she thought it was a joke, maybe if another writer...
Maybe another writer has plans for it.
That means, but I mean, that's of course, if they even watch the episodes, that's like, I mean, we know that for sure that Megan McCarthy is watching the episodes because she comments on the fucking ads that go on the that go on the initial airing. But
can I ask a quick question?
Go ahead.
Did anybody catch the actual initial showing of the episode?
I did not.
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, darn it. I can't ask what was the best ad today.
Nope.
Probably the one Megan McCarthy tweeted for.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
I think that's a good stopping point. We've been at it for a little while. We have somehow drug out this episode for almost 45 minutes, I believe. I'm completely guessing because I didn't note when we started.
You're
and I don't have a timer.
Scott, and you should feel that way.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, MetalSonic, NightOfAccordianSax, Pseudonym, and Tailspin for discussing the episode with me, and thank you everybody listening to this for listening to it with us. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.